A good question. We are we're a transportation company, and we specialize in the movement of liquid bulk chemicals, and we do that in both domestic tankers as well as overseas ISO containers. We deal with hazardous and non-hazardous liquids. The first bot had a little bit of a challenge to it, and the reason is that it takes getting used to some of the programming and how the process takes place. So I know what we do, and the thing is that once you're explaining it to somebody, you kind of take for granted, or you take an assumption. Oh, you just click here, or you right click here, or you do this, and it's going through the first process teaches you how to make the information in a way that it can be understood and then processed by the group that you're working with. So the first round was a little bit of a challenge. The other challenge for us is that we took a process that was a lot more difficult than we anticipated. And I'll give you an example. We had our sales orders. We deal with we deal with liquid bulk chemicals. So we would have a product that is caustic soda, which is sodium hydroxide. And when we have our own lingo, we say caustic. Once we got into the programming aspect, it's, if one customer calls it caustic, one calls it caustic soda, one calls it caustic soda 50%. These are three different items when you're dealing with the technology. So one of two things needs to happen. Either you need to tell the bot that these three things mean the same thing, or you need to do three separate processes to map into the same location. So it's part of the learning curve of migrating from human interaction to be able to take these processes. But I can tell you, we're actually just launched our 13th bot, and it gets easier each time because just the lingo and the concept and how to use that language. But the first one was a little bit of a challenge. I'm able to outline screenshots, access credentials, give everything. I usually do a Microsoft Word document with screenshots and a list of credentials or anything that's special. And it's really, there's one conversation where we'll have a conference call with the group that we work with. And we've had a dedicated group, which is nice because they get familiar with some of the systems and the overlaps. But we have one conversation. They write up the plan essentially on a Word document. They'll send it back. I'll review it, and we'll fill in any gaps that there might be. And then after that, I would say, depending on timeline, we'll get something back, and they'll give us we'll demo the process and make sure that again there's no challenges or anything that needs to be changed. And then we go into production. So it's very easy right now. The last process we did, I probably sent the information maybe 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago tops, and we're going into production now. So it's a very, very easy process from my perspective. I'll give a couple examples. Some of the processes are being built out to save time from our staff, and some of the items are done to specifically save me time. And one of the things that I do in my role is I also work with the accounting information. And we have a total of 5 companies that each month we do a combination, and we put that into, we take 5 individual companies, we combine combine all the financial data and then generate a combined report. And we migrate that from 5 different QuickBooks files into one. And that would take me anywhere from 8 to 12 hours doing it manually. It's just a lot of keystroking back and forth. And we were able to build out the process to have it automated, which was fantastic because I was once the logic was in place, I was replicating each month. I was replicating these accounts go here, these cancellations take place, intercompanies, what have you. And we were able to take all of that logic that I was doing it manually in my head and convert it. So I'm sure it could be broken out. I mean, if again, my time, 8 to 10 hours a month, at a salary, I mean, you could get to numbers pretty quickly. And I believe that, part of the ROI process that Navitas puts together is giving you those numbers based on the assumptions that you have. But I would say it saved us a significant amount of human capital. Our goal really wasn't to drive down costs, to eliminate staff. Our goal was to have the repetitious day-to-day, the mundane type of tasks that can be done via automation to be done via automation, so that our staff could concentrate on other things. I would absolutely recommend Navitas. Just the ease of going into the platform, scheduling, whether it's on demand, whether it's scheduling it once a week, once a month. You can make changes to it as needed. It's very easy to work with. Our staff has been unbelievable. We work with the same dedicated, I would say 3 or 4 people on each process, and they're dealing with everything from the implementation, the initial coding, the testing, through launching into production, and then also the troubleshooting after the fact. Again, we've done 13 processes so far. And one of the nice things with that is that you have the synergies of knowing the system. So not only, I think, have we built out the programming aspect of what the system's supposed to do, but when there is troubleshooting to be done, the group that we're working with is familiar with, okay, I know CSI Road, that's the system that we use, our TMS system, transportation management. So they're familiar with where they're going to look for problems. So not only is it that they have the direct link to where the coding is, but also how the program works. So I would absolutely recommend it. It's for us, it's been a huge time saver. Again, it's allowed us to automate things that we were doing manually, and as we've tried to scale over the last few years, that's been really important, and it's allowed us to do a lot of things. One of the statistics, or one of those items just kind of came to my head. We were able to grow. We were able to grow as a company, but not have to take on additional administrative overhead. And we grew in the last year probably about 35%, and we were able to do that with the same administrative overhead, with the introduction and the continued introduction of these various processes. As far as expanding the scope, absolutely. And I've talked to several members on our team. If there's a way that we can use this technology, I want to leverage this technology. I mean, everything's built out to be able to do it. All of the systems are in place. All the resources are allocated. So really, once you identify the process and get it built out, it runs itself. That's the idea of the technology. So yeah, I mean, I would want to scope. I would want to scope as many things as possible into the process as we can. And that's just getting the most bang for your buck. That's where you're going to get the most ROI. That's where you're going to get the most benefit to your company is by doing that.